Oh,
Oh, hi everybody.
we hope you're doing well. We have a good one today. Okay, so first and foremost, I'm going to be calmer and less loud so that your volume can be regulated a little bit better. I hope.
Except I think that you're like super passionate about today's topic, so you might not be as calm as you think.
Yeah, but maybe you won't either, and then they can
Maybe not.
tell you that.
Maybe not.
Okay, let's get started. So we have timers set today too, so that we don't go over our 25 minutes. So you're doing your
Yeah.
cardio, whether it's a powered clean of your house, walking, whatever. Better than last week, hopefully, because last week when you got your cardio chat, it was, if you're where we live, it was pouring rain and disgusting.
Yeah, it was
But
awful.
whatever, I hope you did some sort of cardio and you're going to do some sort of cardio now. So it could be like power
Hmm.
clean or power tidy your house. So get going and buckle up. This one should be a good one. We'd love to hear from you afterwards if you have other thoughts on this or want some clarity or just want to like spitball more ideas off of us. We
Hmm.
are here for it.
Okay, so why don't you get started with the
This
start with the quote
the
that you said?
quote that I found. So this is
Yeah.
like a total paraphrase from something that I found somewhere. So I don't even know if it's a paraphrase. It might have just been a thought that I had. I really don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
But anyway, so my thought is even if every single one of us ate the same food, did the same exercises, and got the same sleep, and took the same supplements, and did everything exactly the same, we would all have completely different responses to those tasks. And I don't mean that
Hmm.
just in like your body composition. I mean like how you feel, whether you feel good, whether you're still tired, whether you're gassy, bloated, whatever,
Hmm.
which leads us into today's topic, where we're going to talk to you about shitty fad diets.
Hmm.
And not necessarily that they're all terrible, and some of the stuff that we see all over social media and in magazines
Hmm.
and in just kind of really any media that's out there.
Yeah, and also like touching on the individuality of nutrition and all of it and how we are all so different and we all need different things and different things will work for each of us individually. So sometimes it's a matter of like trial and error to find what works for you. So why don't we start with fad diets?
Let's start with
That's
fad
probably
diets. This is
that's
probably
going to be
what
the
we're
most fun one.
yeah. Okay,
Yeah,
which one do you want to talk about first? Keto, go. Your turn.
go. Okay. Well, basically, any fad diet, you and I are going to have the exact same answer on it. That it's, I'm going to swear, everybody. Sorry, mom, if you're listening. It's bullshit. My mom's part of this challenge, so she's probably not going to be happy with me for that one. But so keto, if anybody doesn't know what keto is where you eat a completely carb-free diet. And it's high in animal fats and proteins, which not to say that there's anything wrong with animal fats and proteins. But like somebody on a keto diet might eat like 7 hot dogs with no bun for dinner, and they'll call that a healthy meal because it's still within their keto diet. Um, so
There's
my
a
main issue is,
go
yeah,
ahead.
go ahead.
No, finish.
Okay. I was just going to say that one of my main issues with keto is surrounding how, as long as you are avoiding carbs, you're eating healthy. And so you can literally go put whatever crappy food into your mouth as long as it still falls under the keto terminology. And I'm sorry, but I just don't understand how that encompasses health in any way, shape, or form. So you go ahead now. What's your thought?
Well, so I threw keto out as the first fad diet just because it's the one that has been like the most kind of popular, but it's not even like there was Atkins before keto and what was before that. Anyways, it was very
Yeah.
similar. But I was listening to a podcast, which is rare for me, but anyways, it was last week that was talking about the origins of the keto diet. And so the ketogenic diet was actually originally created by a researcher who was looking to heal epilepsy. And
Mm,
so that's where the ketogenic diet originated from. And it was in like the 1920s or maybe even a little bit earlier, but it was really early in the 1900s. Um, so that's where that originated from. And obviously it's morphed and it's cool and it can be very successful for some people.
hmm
However, for other people, it can actually put them, and this goes for any diet, it can be really successful. We're not here to say that it's not going to be successful or that it's not going to be a good one for you. And this is why I threw keto out first, because it's just the easiest one for me to pick apart and also praise at the same time. Um, it's it could work really well for you. It's just a matter of how you're interpreting everything too, right? So like the
hmm
ketogenic diet, if you're actually following a ketogenic diet, you're still focusing on animal fats and proteins in their natural form,
hmm
or like they're not processed, so they're
Yeah.
unprocessed. So like
Yeah.
you'd be eating steak and beef and chicken breast and fish, and you'd be getting your any of your carbohydrates that you are getting are all coming from vegetables. But even on a true ketogenic diet, you're not really eating that many vegetables. Well,
No, you're not.
let's let's talk about the concerns with that, because I don't want to just pick on keto. I want to kind of rip apart all diets and why they're not all good and not all bad. So
Yeah.
vegetables, why do we eat vegetables?
Nutrients.
Nutrients. What do vegetables help us do? Void toxins. I know you don't want to
Yeah.
say it. If you don't eat vegetables, you're not going to shit. Okay. Or you're not going to shit properly if you don't eat vegetables, because you need
Yeah.
the fibers from the vegetables and the fruit.
Yeah.
You can eat all the whole grains you want, but if you eat too many whole grains, still don't get any of the fiber and nutrients from fruit and vegetables, you're going to
hmm
be constipated.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're also going to be sick.
Yeah. That
Like
too.
just a lacking in nutrients. I mean, like it's, I don't know. I just have a very, and I mean, yes, you can say that there are sides to keto that are beneficial, but I just have a very hard time with any diet that tells me that eating a fruit is not healthy. I that it irks me in
Yeah.
a deep, deep way, because I think that there's so much in that that can be spun in such a like it it, it feeds into the whole body image issues. Like, okay, well, today I'm not going to eat a strawberry because keto tells me that strawberries have sugar and sugar is unhealthy. So I'm gonna take the strawberries out of my smoothie today, and just it feeds into those really, really like nasty. What's the word I'm looking for, Tam?
I don't know,
I'm
but
blank. I'm looking for like the unhealthy relationship with food. I guess I'll just call it
yeah.
that.
So, and I really think any diet is like that. I mean, like, let's
hmm
list off some of the diets you've heard about. There's Atkins, keto,
South Beach.
vegan, South Beach. I'm gonna throw vegan in as a diet too. Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
understand that there are reasons to be vegan, and like one of my best friends is vegan, and she eats phenomenally, and it works
Yeah.
very well for her. And it will if you're doing it correctly. But again, it comes down to well, there's the cabbage soup diet. Anyway, sorry, it
Oh
comes down
yeah.
to
I was gonna say that one.
and I'm gonna
Yeah.
touch on Weight Watchers here in a second too. So
hmm
I'm going back to the vegan. So vegan and vegetarianism, absolutely, there's nothing wrong with those if you do it right.
hmm
So
And
just
and your reasoning behind them too, I think is a huge thing. If you're doing it because somebody told you if you become a vegan, you're gonna lose like 25 pounds in 3 weeks. I'm sorry, it's that you're probably not the person that should be doing veganism, you
yes,
know?
and or plant-based or whatever,
Yeah.
whichever of those spectrums you want to take it into. And I'm not picking on you because you're vegan.
No.
If I'm gonna pick on any specific diet, it's gonna be the SAD diet, which is the standard American diet that
Oh yeah.
involves McDonald's, Harvey's, all the
Oh,
shit so many people love. to eat,
Yep.
and that is
Yep.
marketed so heavily to us all, especially as children. But
Hmm.
anyways, so we're not saying that you shouldn't do any of these diets. We're saying you should consider all of the facets of the diet
Yeah.
before you jump on it. So
Yeah.
I'm going into Weight Watchers here. Weight Watchers is like one of the most popular diets, or Noom. Noom is the other one that I've seen. And Noom's
Yeah.
tagline is literally, it's not a diet,
Uh-huh.
right?
But yeah,
But it is.
but it is.
It's still a diet. I mean, anything you're eating is a diet. You have a diet. But
Yeah.
diet shouldn't be a noun. It should be, or sorry, it shouldn't be a verb. It should be a noun.
Yes.
I have a
Yes.
diet.
There. Yeah. Yeah. No,
Um,
and that's the other thing is, I mean, aside from like fad diets, going into Weight Watchers and Noom and all those, they may not be fad diets in that, you're kicking out whole food groups or you're only focusing in on certain food groups. But it's still a restrictive calorie based diet. So
yeah.
you're still significantly cutting calories in hopes of losing weight. And like
And
we said, go ahead.
And to be clear, cutting calories, if you are looking to lose weight, does have to happen. You have to burn more calories, burn slash consume more calories, burn more calories than you're consuming in
Yes.
order to lose weight. But it's not that
Yes.
simple.
It's not that simple. And it's also it's the drastic calorie reduction that a lot of these diets put out there, like telling women to eat less than 1,200 calories a day is it's not healthy, it's not sustainable. And sure, you may see some like immediate results from heavily restricting your calories like that, but the damage that you're doing long term to
Your
your
psyche.
metabolism and your and your psyche, your metabolism, your hormones, and then all of a sudden you're like, I don't know why it's not working for me anymore. Maybe I need to cut calories more, and then all of a sudden we have like a very
Disorder.
cyclical issue. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, I mean, I'm happier with Weight Watchers now that they've left fruits and veggies. I think fruits and veggies are free points now, quote
Okay.
unquote, free points. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
But even then, still, part of it too for me is the it's the buzzwords. Yeah,
Yeah.
Weight Watchers approved. This is healthy, and I look at the
Hmm.
ingredients, and I'm like, there's not a damn thing in there that's a natural ingredient. Like,
Exactly.
you know what
But
I'm saying?
but it's low calorie, so
But
it's okay.
it's Weight Watchers approved, and I mean, keto again. I'm throwing keto in there. You walk into the grocery store now, and everything's keto approved, and I'm like, okay, yeah,
Yeah.
maybe it's keto approved, but that doesn't mean that it's good for you. And
Well,
like,
and that's why like I go in that mention about the whole hot dog thing is that's an actual real life scenario that I heard of. Is somebody that was on keto. It was a friend of a friend that told me about this and said, I have a friend that's on keto and she literally eats hot dogs almost every meal because it's keto approved.
sorry.
So that's why the whole hot dog thing came out at the beginning of this.
Well, and like even if you go on Pinterest and look up keto recipes, I saw the other like I don't even know when I looked at it, I was like, that looks amazing, but also awful at the same time. And literally it was a
Yeah.
keto approved dessert that was
Yeah.
like an entire container of Cool Whip
That does
mixed
sound really good.
mixed with like some I can't even remember what it was mixed with, but I was like, oh my goodness, there's an entire container of Cool Whip because Cool Whip
Yep.
fits into the keto requirements. Anyways,
Yeah, and
sorry.
so that's the issue is that it's not that we're saying like don't go and treat yourself to these desserts, but the problem is that people see the keto approved and they assume, oh, it's healthy.
Yes.
It's because it's got the keto stamp of approval, so it's healthy. So if I eat that, it's gonna like fit into my nutritional diet that I'm trying to maintain. So that's the issue with that.
Okay. I'm
But
going to try to get us wrapped up on this fad diets thing with kind of one final, hopefully, maybe there might be more, but one kind of final thought on it. So, fad diets are fad diets as a whole should not be something, a diet as a whole should not be something that you're looking at each, like the individual diets, but rather as a whole and kind of trial and error. What components make me feel good? What components make me feel not so good? What components make sense and don't cost me
Mm-hmm.
an arm and a leg? And what components, like honestly, I mean, I'm a huge, and I think Jess, you're the same, protein, carbohydrates, fat, all should be consumed in moderation, but it's totally different how much each person should have. And
Absolutely.
desserts, I'm sorry, but desserts are a food group. And if you try
Yeah.
to cut them completely out of your life, they're maybe not a food group, but you know what I'm trying to say. If you try to cut them completely out of your life, like completely out of your life, what's the one thing you're going to want more and more and more of? And how miserable are
Mm-hmm.
you going to be?
Mm-hmm. And I think like that there's something to be said for the binge eating cycle that a lot of these fad diets create in people because they restrict so heavily and try to stick so heavily to this fad diet that they all of a sudden just it all comes crashing down and they binge hard and then they're like, oh shit, I binged. So now I need to go back and get back into another fad diet to lose everything that I just put back on because I binged. So yeah.
And like I've tried multiple different types of diets, and I mean, some of them aren't sustainable just because they're
Mm-hmm.
not, for multiple different reasons. And some of them are totally sustainable, but make you feel like crap. And so, like,
Mm-hmm.
if you're feeling like crap and the only thing you've really changed is your diet, then maybe you need to consider that. So, like, going carb free for me was like, I was, I'm sorry, but I was out to lunch, like
Yeah.
space cadet.
Yeah.
I just couldn't think. I couldn't function. I couldn't do anything. I've tried the vegan thing and I actually really enjoyed the food, but it was not serving my lifestyle. And probably just because I couldn't eat as much food as I needed to eat to get the protein that I still needed.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, that's me, that's my body. So I think things are different. And I think, again, what it comes down to is we need to look at ourselves first and what components feel good. So, like, if
Yeah.
you cut sugar out of your life and you start eating sugar again, you're probably going to feel like shit. Okay. If you eat sugar all of the time in like large quantities, when you start cutting it back, first you're going to have major cravings, but then all of a sudden things are going to start to feel like taste way too sweet for you, because as you start to
Mm-hmm.
cut it back, and then you're going to notice that you feel good and you're like, oh man, like how did I eat like that?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah. And then, okay,
Okay.
so we have one more kind of thing we want to talk about, and it still fits
Yeah. And
into
our
this.
timer is like running. You called
We
it that
knew it
we were
would
going to
happen.
talk too much.
So the other thing we kind of wanted to talk about is you, like your psyche about eating, how you feel about eating, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, for example, if I didn't plan out my meals, we would scramble every single day. Every single day. So like I like plan out my meals for the week most of the time. If you see me
Mm-hmm.
stressed about my meals, that's usually why. And I'm not saying like down to a science, plan it out, but like I look at what's in my fridge on Sunday or before I do my grocery shopping. It's not usually on Sunday. That's kind of a lie. I meal prep on Sundays. And I say, okay, what are we going to eat this week?
Mm-hmm.
And then I don't necessarily write it down, but it's in my head. I probably should write it down, let more things out of my head. Um, Whereas you just,
Yeah, that doesn't work for me and
yeah,
our lifestyle. I mean, we're just like our schedules are so sporadic too throughout the week. So what works for me is just always keeping kind of the same major ingredients always on hand that I know that are healthy, that work for us, that I can put together quickly. and keeping those things on hand all the time so that I don't really have to think about it. I'm just like, oh, I feel like having this for lunch today. And I know I have all those ingredients and it's a staple in my diet. So that's what works for our family.
Mhm.
And yeah, I just find like keeping good nutritious food on hand helps me to choose more nutritious foods when it comes time to eating. Not to say that I don't treat myself to things too. We have chips on hand and all that stuff too, but it's if there's nutritious things on hand, I'm more likely to choose those things than the less nutritious items.
Yeah. And then we wanted to talk about macros tracking. We don't want to get into
Mm-hmm.
macros at all because every single person needs a different amount of macros.
Yeah.
And if
Yeah.
you're going to go into macros, you should definitely be talking to somebody who can specifically talk to you and you
Mm-hmm.
alone, not a
Yeah.
like generic thing about what
Don't
your
go in,
macros should
don't
be.
go onto a calculator online to figure out your macros either
Yeah.
because it's not going to be right. Yeah. So we wanted to touch base because there are some ways that like I would consider calorie tracking and macro counting to be a form of dieting. But it's not to say that it's a bad thing. It really works well for a lot of people, especially people that typically tend to undereat or people who typically tend to overeat. It really just helps them keep everything in check throughout the day. However, it might not work for you. And so there's a lot of things that you're going to see out there on the Instagram influencer fit market now that it's not necessarily bad advice, but so many people that it's just this is the way that it's going to work. This is the be all and end all. If you don't do this, you're going to fail. But yet I don't count my macros. I don't track my macros. I know you don't, Tam. And I think we're doing okay.
Yeah. And
And
like,
it
I don't,
just is not everything that you see out there is going to work for you, and that's okay.
and nor should it. Which brings me right back to that first statement I said. Even if
Yeah.
we all do the same thing, we're not all going to have the same reactions and results.
Yeah.
So, let's keep that in mind. Let's, make better choices. And then this is my last thing. We only have like 2 minutes and my timer is just about to go off, so I'm going to
Yeah,
cancel.
mine is too.
Um, so I don't know, I lost my train of thought. Oh shit. Coming
You
back.
said
Okay,
brings
go
it to
ahead.
your last point.
Brings
You
us to my
said that you
last
were,
point.
yeah.
My last point. So my last point is that no, it's still not there. Just talk. I'll think of it in a second.
Okay, so we were talking about how not everything is going to work for you, and it's going to be a matter of trial and error and figuring out what works for you. Um, I guess like to wrap up kind of our advice for this whole thing, because we've just kind of given you all the things that we think don't work. um, so I guess our advice to you is either reach out to us if you have any questions about how to approach nutrition in a healthy manner that is sustainable. And also just a matter of trial and error and finding what works for you. Um, you may find tracking to be very beneficial for you, um, or you might find that it makes you too stressed out about food and that you don't enjoy eating as much anymore because you're having to measure every little thing that you eat. There should always be a sense of enjoyment to food. And I think that a lot of people, they get on this diet kind of so focused on losing weight and dieting, it takes the enjoyment out of eating because every time you're eating, you're thinking about like the calories or the fat or the carbs that you're putting into your body instead of taking a moment to just enjoy the like endorphins that you're getting from eating that food that you love so much, or how much energy you're going to have because you ate that food, how great your workout's going to be later today because you're going to have so much more energy because you have a good base of fats, carbs, and proteins from this morning. I don't know, is your final thought back
Yep,
yet?
it's back. So
Go.
my final thought, it took me a while
It
there,
did.
is don't make huge changes all at once.
Yes.
Okay. So we can talk about that with dieting. We can talk about it with exercise. We can talk about it with sleep. We can talk about it with everything in conjunction with each other. If you go to make huge changes, first and foremost, you're not going to know which one is serving your body and your mind the way that you're looking for. And secondly, it's going to be even less sustainable. So if I decided that I am cutting all sugar out of my life, holy crap, that's huge. Like, that's a huge undertaking. That means I can't have baked goods. It means I can't have fruit. It means I can't have chocolate chips in my trail mix. It means that I can't have bread. It means like all of those things that would have to come out just by cutting out sugar. So a more reasonable option for me would be to, Tam, stop eating so many baked goods. When you make cookies for your kids for their lunches, stop eating them. Like,
just reduce. Like it comes back to that, this is my approach to eating anyways. Then again, this approach isn't the be all and end all, and it might not work for you, but my approach is the 80-20 rule. So 80% of the foods that I eat in a day, I try to make sure that they're nutritionally balanced. They're, I guess in the healthy spectrum of foods. And then it leaves me 20% to enjoy a cookie or have a little bowl of chips or enjoy a glass of wine at the end of the day. And so again, that's what works for me. But the whole premise of this thing is that it might not work for you.
Exactly. So we are completely out of time.
Yeah, we got to go.
Sorry, we went over again.
That's okay. They just got more cardio. That's fine.
Yeah, more cardio. By all means, I'm sure that this topic is stirring up some thoughts in your brain or some more questions. Throw them in the comments. Send one of us a DM or email us or whatever. Excuse me. We would love to chat more about it with you. Or clarify things for you, or maybe your question has me going off on one of my Tam Talks on Instagram. So don't be afraid to ask a question. There's no stupid questions ever.
Yep.
Okay. Have a great remainder of your day, night, wherever you're at, and we'll be in touch.
Go enjoy some food.
Yeah, go enjoy a piece of chocolate.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. Bye, everybody.
Bye,
Have
guys.
a good day.